Hey folks, this is Judd, and I am daydreaming about dragons. I've got Pupper asleep on my legs in the position we call the railroad, and here at the house. And I just got done listening to Logan's podcast, Swordbreaker, which you should listen to. Best intro in the business. And he's got me thinking about equipment and how that can be used for world building. And he had some good thoughts on it, and I want to give my own 10 minutes on it a little bit, talk about it. So what can we do? So yes, you can absolutely use world building for, you can illustrate world building by having different types of weapons or different types of equipment, laser swords instead of iron swords, sharpened wooden sticks instead of spears. You're saying different things, without a doubt. And then you can think of it as a dial and just crank the dial in different directions and see what happens, right? What happens when you crank the dial all the way to that left and there are no weapons? None. You don't know how to make them yet. You haven't learned. Why is that? Is it because it's prehistoric? Did we ever not be able to make weapons? Maybe. Maybe we've got to go steal the idea of weapons from the gods. That's interesting. Kind of a Prometheus vibe there. Maybe humans never learned how to make weapons, and you've got to decide which elder species you're going to go find weapons from. Are you going to go to the gnomes, deep underground? Are you going to go to the dwarves in their mountains? Are you going to go to the elves deep in the forest? Where are you going to go? The dragons? Get some fire or magic? What your tribe does to deal with the fact that you're weaponless, where you go is going to say a lot about your clan and your caves. That's one idea. That's one way to go. I have this mental image in my head of a group of prehistoric people who have this deity who's basically, the deity is a giant unformed stone that has iron in it. And they drag their god to the dwarves because they don't know how to get the iron out. And there's a rival tribe with black glass spears from their volcano god who is going to be coming to kill them once the spring thaw happens. I don't know. And then you go all the way to the other direction. Weapons are everywhere. The whole world is a messed up apocalyptic battlefield. And you can just go to any body and drag some weapons off of it. But all of those weapons are ghost cursed to varying degrees, right? We make up some tables. Every weapon is ghost cursed, or ghoul cursed, or white cursed, or lich cursed. There's some kind of undead curse on every weapon. What does that mean? What does that do? And you start the game without any weapons, and then you pick them up, and we randomly generate weapons. You can only carry so many because you can only carry so many of these curses. And you got to deal with them. That's one way. We could go the Sigil route, right? Planescape. You don't start the game with anything, maybe? That's not how Sigil starts, but let's play with it, right? The Sigil is called the City of Doors. So what happens if you start the game with just a big bag of keys? And again, you give the DM a random generator of different kind of doors to create. So the doors all go to different amazing places. And that's where you get your weapons. That's where you get your equipment. From visiting these places and bartering. Cool stuff. And of course there's just the science fantasy vibe, Instead of a crossbow, you put a laser blaster. Instead of a sword, you say a laser sword. I getcha. I dig it. But we can go even weirder. It can get weirder than this. I'm very much inspired by Cogmind, by Grid Sage Games, and I'll have a link to that in the show notes. I'll also have a link to the Swordbreaker podcast because their Logan's equipment episode is where this is coming from. It's not from the Inspiration Goat, but it's close. It's super close. And I just wanted to think about how weird equipment could get. And I mentioned I'm inspired by Cogmind because in Cogmind, you're basically a robot. You're not basically. In Cogmind, you are a robot. And what you can do is based on what you've attached to yourself. And how the other robots react to you is what you attach to yourself. How fast do you overheat? How much armor do you have? How many weapons do you have? If you're bristling with weapons, people are going to react to you differently. If your weapons are 3 rocket launchers, every time you run into a threat, you're going to blow up half the board. It's interesting. It's an interesting way to deal with deal with character creation, right? Because suddenly it's not, strength, intelligence, wisdom, con, dex, charisma. And then, in D&D, you've got race, which is a word that makes me roll my eyes. And then you've got class. If we're thinking about it in the Cogmind frame of mind, you are a robot. And what you can do is based on what you pick up and attach to yourself. And that's it. And you can also store some things. So you've got some things in storage. Do you want to walk around? Do you want to roll around on wheels? Do you want to walk around on carbon fiber legs? Do you want to fly around on a little hover platform? It generates a lot of heat, takes a lot of energy. It's cool stuff. And all different cool ways to think about equipment. Caves of Khud has some cool equipment stuff too. Where if you have multiple arms, it helps, and if you have the mutation quills, you can't wear armor. It's interesting. Cool stuff. So yeah, think about equipment. Think about what it says about the world. Dial it one direction, dial it in another direction. There's no equipment. 0. What does that mean? What does that mean? We get our powers all through tattoos. And the way you fight is all kung fu. You've got to learn it. You got to go find a mentor to teach you different types of punching and kicking. There we go. No equipment, 0. The world has eschewed all of its attachment to belongings. This world is beyond that. But we're not beyond kung fu. We're not beyond punching each other in the face. Because that's kind of fun. All kinds of places you can go. Punch those dials in different directions. See what happens. Don't play one way. Play lots of ways. Right? I'm hearing too much out there in the gaming world about, when I play this way. No. The only thing I want to hear that's consistent is when I play, I appreciate my players. And I dig what they have to say. That's what I want to hear. I appreciate these people who sit down and dedicate their time with me. Everything else is a dial that can be ripped one way or ripped the other. Together. As a group. Got any thoughts about equipment? Got any thoughts about dials? One true wayism? Any of it? Hit me up. Send me a message. Agree, disagree, just do it out of love. And I'll reply with the same. I should have a reply show this Wednesday. I've got a lot of stuff built up. I've just been trying to sift through it and make a good show. So this Wednesday, the Wednesday night, you should have a reply show for your commute on Thursday. Thank you, Logan. I'll have a link to Cogmind. I'll have a link to Swordbreaker. And a blog post might even come out of this. I'll let some neat ideas in this one. All right. Let's see what the Inspiration Goat has for us this week. Thank you, Inspiration Goat. And let's talk a little bit about what's inspiring us this week, which is the adventure paths. Yeah. Adventure paths from Paizo Publishing. For Pathfinder, not a game I'm playing at the moment. Not my cup of tea, not my cup of cuppa. And adventure paths are a little bit too much adventure for me. They're a little too linear. I like it a little bit more. I'd like to not know where exactly we're going to end up. Because I like to just give my players an interesting conundrum and see what they do with it. But here's the thing about adventure paths. Here's a cool thing. Every adventure path, and I'll have a link to the adventure path website from Pathfinder. Every adventure path has a player's guide, which is chock full of cool art and cool maps and cool ideas. And they're free. And if you like them, you can buy more. And if you don't, you don't have to. And if you want to, but you just can't because of money trouble, don't, and pay them back later. I understand. Things are rough. Get what you can get. But you can sign up for the Pathfinder Adventure Path website, and you can download those things for free. And they are really cool. I used one for years of gaming. I actually bought the Adventure Paths because I wanted to support the company. But we started with just the player's guide for Kingmaker. And we got years of enjoyment out of that game. I mean, I have two friends who started off as, friends, with a lowercase f. And now they are capital F friends, right? Capital F friends. People who I really find myself close to because we shared this ridiculous, amazing hobby together for years. For years, there were things, there's a lot going on in my life, and that game was the consistent thing. And consistency, man, as I'm getting older, I think consistency is everything. Consistency and the ability to ask good questions. That's it. That's the secret. You want to know what the secret is? Those are the secrets. I just dropped the secrets on you. Right in the middle of Inspiration Goat about adventure paths. So anyway, we played with an adventure path for Kingmaker for years. And I used the Golarion Map, and I used the Golarion Wiki, and it was tight. It was really good. We didn't, use everything with Golarion, but I used quite a bit. And it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I can't say enough. Can't say enough about how much I liked it. So, grab it, make it your own. And what I like about the Adventure Path player's guides is it's just enough, right? I mean, that's kind of what I want out of an adventure. A little bit of cool art, a little bit of an idea of what the what's going on in the world, what's wrong, what's out of balance. If I can get that much, we can make up the rest. I don't need too much more than that. Give me that and a couple monster manuals, we're ready to roll. So that's where I'm at. I don't think my Kingmaker adventure path probably looked very much like yours or looked very much like it was supposed to. And that's okay. I'm comfortable with that. It was a lot of fun. We got years of good play out of it. I stand by purchasing it. It's good stuff. It was really good. I didn't use everything in it. I joked with my players that there was in one of the hexes was a batch of giant radishes. And that became like a joke thing about like, oh, Judd didn't use the giant radishes. It's like we lost the sense of the whole campaign. But what's cool about it is I gave the player's guide to the players, and they kind of picked out they teased out this adventure and theme out of it. That was kind of cool. And they saw stuff in there that I didn't. So when they made their characters, there was this sense of this sense of loss for their country being lost that I don't know that I would have seen. And they found it. The players, Rachel and Drew, really found that. And I don't know that I saw it. So it was cool handing it to them and being like, what do you guys see? Read this over. It's just a couple pages. And it was neat. It was really neat. Handing your players a situation and seeing what they get out of it. So, Pathfinder Adventure Paths, especially the player's guide. If you like it, buy more. If you don't. What about you? Do you have any modules, pre-written adventures that particularly inspire you? Do you have experiences with adventure paths made by Pathfinder? Have you used them for other games? How'd that work out for you? What do you think? What are your thoughts? Hit me up. Are you writing a published adventure and you're trying to do something different? That's cool too. Let me know. Raven, Pigeon, email, Mastodon, Twitter. What do you got? Anchor, replies, MP3s, pneumatic tubes, whatever you got, send it to me. And I can't wait to hear from you. My email is judd.karlman@gmail.com. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. You can also just grab the Anchor app and send me a response, and I'll put it on the response show. Thank you for listening. We're about to get a winter storm here. I hope you stay warm. I hope you stay safe. And I hope you're reading something good. I hope your inspiration goat is bringing you good stuff. And if your inspiration goat is not bringing you good stuff, you can go to your local library and they'll hit you up. Local librarians are the people who train the inspiration goat. That's a secret I'm not supposed to tell you. I get into trouble with the head librarian for that. It's a secret for free. Have a good night. Let me know how your inspiration goat's treating you.